Hey, good morning. This is Heath Stone with The Uncommon Truth and my good friend Bob Embry, and we're going to talk about the uncommon truth today. We've got a few questions, as always, that we want to ask, and then we're going to just work them out, work through it to find the right answers that are going to help us all. Morning, Bob.
Morning, Heath. It's good to see you. Look at that bright, sunshiny day out over your shoulder. It's an exceptional day here as well in North Vancouver. Very excited to be with you today, and very excited to actually introduce to our listeners our program called The Uncommon Truth. And we've named it The Uncommon Truth, Heath, for a very specific reason. And the reality is there's so much information in the world these days that sometimes I get confused. What is the truth? Like you listen to several newscasts, you listen to several podcasts, people have conflicting points of view. You talk to your best friends, you talk to work associates, people have different perspectives on things. And I wonder sometimes, where is the truth? Launching The Uncommon Truth is that it gives people an opportunity to connect. And when you're in transition, when you're going through these stages of life, it can be very lonely. You seem like you're the only person. Like if you're a new father, you've got a wife, you've got a child, you've got a career that you're trying to drive forward, you've got lots of pressure on your plate. And that could be a lonely experience. Even though you're very exceptionally busy, it's still kind of a lonely experience in many ways. And to have a support person there, or support people there, friends that are going through the same thing or have gone through that together, that can be very enriching, very, very rewarding, and provide that a sense of friendship and fellowship that's very, very hard to find in life. So I would say that, our friendship has blossomed over the years because we've been together through those tough times, shared the lessons that we've learned together, grown together over those times. And that's what fellowship's all about. That's what true friendship is all about. So, and that's one of the truths of life too, is very, very, most people only have a few really close friends. And the uncommon truth is a way for us to build those friendships, deepen those friendships, enrichen our lives through strong friendships.
Really, to answer two major questions in life. Who am I, really? And what am I doing here? So, as we've both agreed, I think our goal is really, we want to try to help people through change, personally and professionally. This means anyone who's going through a transition at work or in a relationship, financial, business, or health challenges. I'm a type 1 diabetic, right? So those are just a few that hit me. But whatever it might be, we're going to start to ask some hard questions, bring in experts, guests that can help us really find the uncommon truth on subjects that we sometimes just assume, and we all know what assume stands for, that we know the truth. But really, what is the truth? So our intention really is to help people develop and understand what their primary focus is for life, and which is going to definitely bring clarity and a simple map to ultimately pursue our ideal form of life. So with that being said, Bob, maybe you'd like to share kind of what you feel the vision is and what we really want to drive forward in this journey of asking these tough questions and helping people in their life.
Yeah, Heath, one of the truths about my life is that I've gone through many different transitions. I thought when I was a young man growing up and starting my first career that I'd stick around for a long time in that career, but that proved not to be the case. I remember my first relationship very vividly. I thought there was going to be a long-term relationship, but that proved not to be the case. I didn't think I was going to have any kids at one point in time. And I ended up with 3. Talk about transition. It's the money management issues that I've had through my life. The whole concept of learning about money and managing money. So many different things had to be taught to me over the decades.
What just came to mind as as you're talking is that the truth about life is that we don't know what we don't know. And the only way that we're ever going to gain knowledge, understanding, and ultimately wisdom is by us asking really good questions. And, I think for us as leaders, and my background, having been a police officer with the Vancouver Police for many years, and then I got early parole due to my health and choices, which you know about, and I transitioned into business after 16 years with VPD, and I've been very blessed with starting and building and growing 9 different companies, and I've had some real good wins, and I had a couple kicks in the butt as well along the way, right? But real truth is that I've learned. I didn't fail. I've had a fantastic adventure in learning, and here we are today as friends. We've worked and done business together and before, and we're starting something new. And what we know is we don't know what we don't know. So we're going to bring on guests that are going to talk about all areas of our life. And I think we're going to really combine the spirit, our head, our soul, our heart, and our body, which is health, and our hands and what we're doing with it. So we really need to know how to actually affect change in our thinking, in our feeling, and ultimately in our actions. So I'm pretty excited as well as we put together our list of guests and bring up subject matter experts that in all 3 of these areas of our lives to help us integrate in to a healthy form of life.
One of the most important things that I did in my life when I was in my early 20s was, as I was going through the challenge of life, I realized that if I could talk to people that had experienced marriage, had experienced business, had experienced how to raise a family, had experienced adventure around the world, there was a wisdom to be learned there if you ask the right questions. And I see you and I chatting with our special guests and interacting with our viewers and our listeners, a chance to share some of our wisdom, but also a chance for us to learn from other people as well. So that's one of the greatest joys, and maybe an uncommon truth in life, is learning from other people. Yes. Every time that I approach somebody, talk to somebody, I always assume that there's something to be learned from that person, that they've had experiences that I've never had. They've got some wisdom there that's, if I ask the right questions, if I listen first, perhaps I'll grow from the experience. And I'm very rarely disappointed when you approach a person in that way. So I see this forum, the Uncommon Truth, and a chance for us to get together and interact with our listeners, interact with our special guests. It'll be a tremendous growth period for you and I as well. To that end, I'd like to invite our listeners to interact with us. Mm-hmm. You can subscribe to our channel. You could post comments on YouTube. You can interact with us on Twitter. You can interact us. Together, we'll help each other go through our transitions.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's really about asking those questions. So to all of you watching this, what we're saying is, please ask questions. If there's things that you would like us to find the uncommon truth for you and together seek it, then let's just let us know what those questions are, and we'll bring in leading experts in these areas and experienced people from just all walks of life to help share and help us all find that out. So that really leads into what is the value of going on this journey with us. Well, I feel the value of the uncommon truth and the journeying with us is that we're all going to find out who we are and what we're doing here. You're going to have to ask yourself some hard questions, and we're going to go along this journey together and ask them with you. They're going to help us discover our primary focus in life, and it's going to help bring clarity and simplicity at the end of the day to life. It's kind of like a navigation story, if in essence. To go and create any form of map, you got to basically understand 2 points. You got to know where you are, and then you got to know where you want to go. And this journey really is about discovery, as you said, Bob, and how is it going to let us and have those penny dropping moments, those aha moments where we just go, oh, why didn't I know this before? It's so simple. But that penny dropping is really the bringing of awareness. It's the beginning of change.
And
This is really, I think, specifically what I'm talking about is how do we learn together how to live healthy, integrated lives, spirit, soul, and body? How do we really empower each other and how to be able to predict our future? Well, the best words I ever heard was get busy and create it. Let's just go. Let's just do. You got to visualize it. You got to feel it. But ultimately, it comes down to just doing. So that's what we're here to do, I think, together, is to walk out this journey with all those that want to come along. And we're welcoming you to just journey with us as we go and seek what our ideal form of life would be.
good comments, Heath. And I'll build on that last thought that you had, which is taking action. And that's probably one of the most complicated things when you're in transition, when you have pressure or stress in your life, is choosing the action that you take. If you've never been there before, if you've never been in the midst of a divorce, if you've never had teenage kids, if you've never had a bankruptcy, if you've never started a business, like, what do you do? And I think that our forum is an opportunity to get that wisdom and that advice. Here are some options. Here are some things you've never thought of things you could do that would make that transition much easier, and have the support there, systems there to help us through the process. A quick story on that. I've got a very lovely wife, and my third child, raising her. My wife is exceptionally gifted and skilled with infants and small children, maybe up to 5 years old. Well, that's a developmental time in a child's life. I happen to know quite a bit about child development and the stages that children go through. And so you want to actually adjust your parenting skills as the child grows up. So it was a big challenge for her as the child went from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. Now you're in a different developmental cycle. And another huge challenge when they went from 11, 12, 13, and then of course 14, 15, 16, right? Each different area, the child's growing, the child's independence is changing, the child's attitudes towards parents and peers is changing dramatically. So for her to grow and learn through those times is a big challenge. I think for both of us, of course, but largely for her as well. And having someone around, having some that's been through that process before, could share some wisdom about those specific things can be very, very helpful.
Yeah. A program that I went and took on that very thing about transition, the cycle of life, as it talked about from birth to, as you just said, toddler to child to adolescent to teenager to adult. Now we're in that prime of our life. Then all of a sudden we move to middle age to old age, and then ultimately the final transition. So not a if. The only thing consistent in life is change. And for us all, if we're lucky, we're going through smooth transition through these 8 different gates of life, or seasons, better way of putting it, of life that we're going to experience. And as for me, my little story, I'm going to be a grandpa. I can't wait.
Congratulations, my friend. Yeah. I hit that.
I can't wait. It's going to be exciting, right? But the truth is, I never saw myself as a grandpa. So I guess that's why there are gray hairs in this beard now. But the truth is that as we develop as men and as women, as we go through this cycle of life, learning to just embrace fear and some of the things we've talked about before, and realizing that they're just false events appearing real, and that with faith, with the embracing of them, stepping forward and then accepting them, and we're going to be able to respond and take the right actions and really have those fear killers that come up in these transitional times of bringing doubts and all kinds of other things. But the truth is, it came back to accountability. You mentioned that, both you and I were in the same group, and that's how we became such great friends at the beginning. And to be surrounded by people that have a similar philosophy and desire to grow and learn is an important thing in life. And to actually say, I'm going to step up, I'm going to live to a set of standards. And this is what I really believe. And because of that belief, we start to have emotion and passion for it, and it leads into our actions for our life. And you've been an amazing support to me over 25 years of our relationship, and how we've just grown and gone through many different seasons of life. And I think that that goes with all of our relationships. Life really is about the quality of those relationships we have, whether it be our family, our intimate relationships, our business relationships, colleagues, associates, and that's a long topic. But ultimately, I think what we're trying to say is that with the Uncommon Truth, we're going to be developing and launching accountability and really partnership groups where people can do life together. And I can't say enough about how important it's been in the development of my life and the character that I have today. Well, as we go on this journey together, I think something to just sort of end on here today for us in this brief introduction is we really are focused on empowering people to discover their untapped potential, to equip ourselves and others with the skills and the tangible knowledge and understanding that's going to help us grow, that's going to let us give ourselves the love and the respect that we need so that we have that to give to others, that confidence that we need to build to move forward to the next step. We can't jump to the end. We got to just do it one step at a time. But ultimately, how do we really just define and lay out what we want in our ideal form of life and walk it out together? So thank you so much, Bob, for today. And I really am looking forward to us digging in deep and getting our journey started.
Excellent. Thanks, Heath, bud.
Cheers.
Talk soon.
Talk soon, bud. Cheers.